The Chicago Bears, coming off a blowout on Sunday Night Football, look to get back on track this Sunday in the home opener against the Cincinnati Bengals. Are they going to win this game? Watch this video to find out. Before we begin with this video, guys, I want to talk about the sponsor of this video, FanDuel. Okay, specifically FanDuel Daily Fantasy. I'm working with FanDuel to promote their Daily Fantasy this season, which if you guys have played that ever before, you know it's a lot of fun. Okay, I've been playing Daily Fantasy and FanDuel for like a long time now, actually. Okay, ever since I turned 18, I've been doing daily contests in baseball, basketball, but also in NFL, which let me explain to you guys how it works, okay? Because it is a lot of fun and you can also potentially make some money doing it as well. So pretty much, guys, what you have to do in this app is that you have to build the best possible fantasy football lineup every single weekend for your given contest. And there's a lot of different contests. There's like multipliers, there's like so many different ones that you can check out on your own time, but there's a lot of fun stuff, and a lot of them have a salary cap in them, right? So you have, for example, like $60,000, and you have to divide the $60,000 between, you know, a quarterback, a running back, a wide receiver, all those things. And obviously the better quarterbacks are worth a lot more money, so you have to budget adequately and see like which budget players you want to go with, which expensive players you want to go with. It's a lot of fun creating your lineups every single weekend. Then obviously your players score points based on the point system they have in there, right? So it's like, for example, 4 points for a passing touchdown for quarterbacks. It's like 0.5 points for reception. So, you know, if you score a lot of points, if you finish in the top, for example, like 50% or 20% or whatever the specification of the contest is, if you finish in the top, you win whatever the cash prize is for that given spot. So personally, I've had a lot of fun using this app in the past, and I would recommend you guys use this app as well this football season. So if you guys want to download the app, I have a link down below in the description box and also in the comments. Pinned in the comments as well. You can go ahead and sign up using my link, which also benefits my channel, so I would greatly appreciate that. But they do also have a 20% match on your first deposit up to $500. So if you deposit, for example, $100, you get $20 for free. So personally, I think it's a lot of fun. You guys should use the app as well. I'll be hosting contests with my fans on this app as well, so go download it, guys, in the description down below. What's up, guys? I'm back with the Chicago Bears prediction videos, which I'll be doing every single week during this NFL season. So if you guys want more Bears videos from me, you know, prediction videos, reaction videos, highlight videos, so forth, be sure to subscribe to this channel. But in today's video, guys, I'll be talking about the matchup coming up between the Bears and the Bengals this Sunday. It's going to be our home opener, okay? The first time fans have been at Soldier Field since the end of 2019. Think about that, guys. It's been over. Well, actually, I take that back, okay? Preseason games, they were actually in Soldier Field, so I guess this is the first game that actually matters which fans have been at Soldier Field at since the end of 2019. It's been a long time. I'm sure a lot of you guys are going to this game. So if you're going to this game, I hope you guys have a lot of fun, okay? Be loud, be proud, represent the Chicago Bears fan base. And if our offense stinks it up out there, guys, you know, definitely boo them, okay? Let them know. I mean, I know that Bears fans are not content with mediocrity anymore from this offense, but specifically from this head coach, okay? If you're gonna boo anybody, probably boo Matt Nagy if our offense does not do well out there, because I would assume it's probably gonna be his fault, because I still think he's not starting the right quarterback in this game, okay? Starting Andy Dalton. But talking about this game, guys, obviously the Bears are coming off a very bad loss on Sunday Night Football against the Rams, in which their defense got absolutely torched the entire night, in which their offense, although it moved the ball down the field, they only put up 14 points, which at the end of the day, that's all that matters, okay? If you can actually get the ball into the end zone, and the Bears could not last weekend. So obviously the Bears, coming off a bad loss, they pretty much have to win this game, right? If they want to make the playoffs, right? Like, I'm not saying that it's impossible to make the playoffs at 0-2, but I'm just saying historically your chances of making the playoffs drop dramatically if you start the season out at 0-2. And I know a lot of Bears fans obviously are not even thinking about the playoffs because they don't think our team is good enough to make the playoffs. But I always have like a teeny tiny bit of hope every single season that our team can make it to the postseason, even if we're not going to do anything there. But I'm still so pissed, guys, because I want Justin Fields to start in this game. I think he gives us a much better chance of winning this game, but Matt Nagy obviously thinks otherwise, okay? So Andy Dalton will be starting in this game. We'll probably see Justin Fields here and there on certain packages, on certain downs, maybe in the end zone. We'll see Justin Fields maybe on certain RPOs. We'll see Justin Fields, but otherwise it's going to be the Andy Dalton show this Sunday at Soldier Field. And talking about our opponent a little bit, guys, I mean, the Cincinnati Bengals, they're definitely not going to be an easy opponent, okay? This is not going to be any sort of pushover game like, for example, like a team like the Lions, because this Bengals offense especially, man, they have a crazy amount of talent, and they beat the Minnesota Vikings last weekend, right? Like, nobody picked the Bengals to win that game, but they still won on the strength of their offense and their pretty good interior D-line as well. So, coming into the season, I thought this game would probably be an easy W for the Bears, but that's obviously not going to be the case. Okay, talking about the Bengals offense a little bit in detail, first of all, I want to talk about the three big receivers. Okay, that's the core group on this offense that really makes their team so deadly. Okay, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and Tyler Boyd. Okay, and they each bring something different to this offense, right? Like, Jamar Chase is that big play explosive machine, the guy that can go down the field, score touchdowns in a hurry. He can win one-on-one matchups, he can run crazy routes, and he's that prototypical number one wide receiver that you need in this league. Okay, so coming out of LSU, picking him at number 6 overall, that was obviously a great get for this Bengals offense, because he also has, chemistry with Joe Burrow dating back to college. Okay, both these guys played at LSU, and we already saw that big play connection between Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase in college. It's already starting to come to fruition in the NFL as well. Okay, last weekend, Jamar Chase burned, I think it was Brashawn Breeland going down the field, and he scored a 40-plus yard touchdown on a beautiful throw from Joe Burrow. Okay, so don't underestimate how important this chemistry is between the wide receiver and the quarterback. It's probably one of the most crucial things in this entire sport, okay, and they already have that chemistry dating back to college. Okay, so Jamar Chase, obviously one of the biggest weapons on this offense. They also have T. Higgins. Okay, this guy's also a pretty good receiver in this league. He has a big frame. He's 6'4". He can go up there and post up and win those 50-50 balls, right? Because he has the body, he has the physicality to go up there and get a ball over a DB. He had 908 yards last year and 6 touchdowns as well. So he's also very solid receiving option. And then obviously they have Tyler Boyd as well. This guy also had 841 yards last year, 4 touchdowns as well. And he's probably a more well-balanced receiver, okay? He can do a little bit of both, what Jamar Chase and T. Higgins can, okay? So they have 3 legitimate receivers, okay? 3 guys that can ball out there, and that's not good news for the Bears secondary. A secondary that's struggled a lot to open this season. Talking about Joe Burrow then, I mean, this guy is a very strong and smart quarterback. He's still pretty young, only in his second year in this offense. He also missed a good portion of 2020 due to that gruesome injury he suffered. So obviously he hasn't played the most games in the NFL just yet, so he might still make some mistakes, but he's probably one of the smarter quarterbacks to ever come out of college, right? Like, this guy dominated at the collegiate level. I mean, dominate is an understatement, right? He had probably the greatest college season for a quarterback ever, okay? Just breaking all the records in that final year at LSU. So Joe Burrow, man, this guy can take the hits. He can be accurate going down the field as well. He's one of the best young quarterbacks probably in the entire NFL, right? So that's going to be a very big challenge for this Bears defense, okay? And then talking about the run game, they have Joe Mixon. This guy had 127 rushing yards last week. Pretty elusive, pretty large frame as well. So that's another guy, I mean, another weapon for this Bengals offense. So, I mean, they are stacked when it comes to all their weapons at, receiver, the run game. They have a great quarterback as well. The only really big weakness I see on this Bengals offense is their offensive line. Okay, their offensive line really struggled last weekend. Okay, they allowed 5 sacks and a lot of quarterback hits against the Vikings, and that's an area where the Bears defense could look to attack them, okay, at the line of scrimmage. So that's a report about the Bengals offense. Moving over to their defense, and that's where they actually have a lot of holes, in my opinion. Okay, they do have some pretty strong position groups. They have good safeties. They have obviously Von Bell, Jesse Bates, 2 of the better safeties, I would say, in the NFL. They also added talent on the interior D-line. They have Trey Hendrickson. Obviously, this guy had 14 sacks last year with the Saints. So that guy's a pretty good pass rusher for them. They already had, other talent on this defense like B.J. Hill, DJ Reader both of them had pretty good weeks last week. Larry Ogunjobi as well. So a lot of talent on the D-line, a lot of talent on the safety group as well. But otherwise, I think they lack talent at key positions, okay? Especially at cornerback, okay? Their cornerback trio right now is Eli Apple, Mike Hilton, and Chidobe Awuzie, okay? Hardly gives you any confidence, okay? So the Bears could really look to attack these cornerbacks, okay? Arab is probably going to win his matchups. Darnell Mooney going down the field, he could probably win some matchups as well. We just have to pay attention to these safeties and to this pass rush as well, okay? Just make sure Trey Hendrickson and those boys don't get past our offensive line. So that's pretty much all I want to say about the Bengals defense. Moving over to the Bears offense then, just quickly glossing over some things that I want to talk about. Pretty much what this Bears offense is right now is that it's a lot, I would say it's still better than last year's offense, but still so similar to the scheme that we ran at the end of last year. Okay, a lot of short passes, a lot of curls, a lot of slants, a lot of stuff within 10 yards because I guess our head coach doesn't trust Andy Dalton to go down the field, and he also doesn't trust our offensive line to pass protect for longer than a few seconds. Okay, so it's a very limited offense. They can move the ball down the field like we saw last weekend, in a certain way, but beyond that, we don't have a lot of explosive plays of more than 20 yards. We don't have a dynamic quarterback. Obviously, we have one on the bench, which Matt Nagy refuses to start, but Andy Dalton is Andy Dalton, okay? He's going to make some poor throws. He's going to make some good throws. He is probably an upgrade over what we had last year to some extent, but he's not that much of an upgrade, okay? He's still only capable of being a game manager at this stage of his career. And, obviously probably the biggest part of this Bears offense right now is David Montgomery. This guy was a beast last weekend, had over 100 yards, a touchdown as well against a pretty good Rams defense, right? So if the Bears offense does succeed, it's probably going to be because of David Montgomery. And then talking about the Bears defense, man, yikes, okay? This Bears defense was bad last weekend. It was beyond bad. We allowed 34 points to obviously a good Rams offense, but we were just giving up explosive plays every other drive, it seemed like, right? Like we allowed 2 50-plus yard touchdowns, which I can't even remember the last time the Bears did that in a game. So obviously we have a lot of holes in that defense. We have holes at cornerback, nickel. Marquis Christian was terrible last weekend, okay? So I don't know who the Bears plan to play at nickel this weekend. Hopefully it's somebody different. Maybe give Duke Shelley a shot, but Marquis Christian was very bad last weekend. Eddie Jackson was very bad as well. This guy used to be a star safety in this league, but he's just completely fallen off a cliff, it seems like, right? Like his play is nowhere close to what it was in 2018. So we're still waiting on Eddie Jackson to live up to his pay grade. I mean, right now he's definitely not doing that, but hopefully he does in the coming weeks. And otherwise, man, I mean, this Bears defense does have a lot of star talent on it still, okay? We still have Roquan Smith. We still have Khalil Mack, one of the best edge rushers in this entire league. But last weekend, it seemed like all of our star players were nowhere to be found, okay? Khalil Mack got pretty much no pressures on Matt Stafford, right? So, like, Khalil Mack has to be better. Eddie Jackson has to be better. Our star players, like Akeem Hicks, have to be better. But there just seems like there might be too much holes in this Bears defense to be a top-level defense during 2021. But with all that being said, let me get to my 3 keys to Bears victory now. What 3 things do the Bears have to do to win this game against the Bengals? And key number 1, guys, is going to be to attack the Bengals defense going down the field. Okay, I want this Bengals secondary to actually be challenged, unlike the Rams secondary was last weekend. Okay, last weekend, the Bears pretty much just gave up going down the field, okay, because they knew that Andy Dalton was probably going to be picked or we weren't going to hold up in pass protection. So they just did not have the receivers run routes down the field at all. Okay, Andy Dalton didn't attempt a single pass of more than 20 yards the entire night. Okay, so I want the Bears to challenge Andy Dalton and see if he can actually throw the ball going down the field. See if he can actually get those explosive plays, because I guarantee you guys, in this game, people are going to be open going down the field. Okay, Darnell Mooney is going to be open. A-Rob is going to be open because the Bengals don't have the best cornerbacks. Okay, going from Jalen Ramsey, Darius Williams to what the Bengals have, that's a massive, massive downgrade. And our receivers should be able to get open at some point in time. And we actually have to see if Andy Dalton is capable of making these throws. If he's not, then put Justin Fields in there. Okay, what are you waiting for? But at least try to go down the field. Otherwise, it's going to be a repeat of what we saw last weekend. Okay, we're probably going to score 14 points, 21 at the most, and still get blown out because I don't have the most faith in our defense. Okay, our defense might allow 24, 30 points, and we're going to need our offense to step up and score these points in a hurry to actually win this game. So that's key number 1, attack the Bengals secondary deep. Key number 2 is going to be to take advantage of this pretty porous Bengals offensive line. Okay, the Bengals O-line allowed Joe Burrow to be sacked 5 times last weekend. And I would say that the Bears defensive line is better than the Vikings defensive line is. Okay, so we should also be getting at least a couple sacks. Okay, get at least 3-4 sacks and really attack Joe Burrow in the pocket. Force him out of the pocket, get those pressures, get those sacks, because otherwise, I don't have faith in our secondary to hold up long enough, okay? So if you don't win the battle at the line of scrimmage, your cornerbacks are going to be burnt again because we don't have the talent in the secondary, okay? So Khalil Mack, man, I need you to earn that money. Akeem Hicks, same thing, okay? I know you're getting up there in age, but you have to get to the quarterback, okay? Get those QB hits, get those QB pressures. Eddie Goldman is coming back most likely, and that's going to be a huge boost to the interior of this Bears defensive line, because this guy was one of the best nose tackles in the game the last time that he played. Okay, so getting Eddie Goldman back, pushing the pocket, that should be a lot better. So I'm really expecting this Bears defensive line to play a lot better than they did last week, and otherwise it's going to be the same result. Okay, we're going to allow 34 points again. So key number 2, take advantage of that weak offensive line. Then finally, key number 3, guys, is to feed David freaking Montgomery. Okay, this guy was the star of our offense last weekend, and he should be the star this weekend as well, because we're probably going to need to play a ball control style of offense to keep the ball away from Joe Burrow and those very talented receiving options. If Monty has over 20-25 carries and the Bears are consistently getting first downs out of those and also scoring points, I think the Bears actually have a very good chance to win this game, right? If we just keep the ball away from Joe Burrow and help out our struggling defense. The Bears offensive line actually ranked number 10 in the NFL in run block win rate last weekend. So clearly our offensive line is doing a lot better in run blocking. So let's stick with it, guys. Okay, if it worked against Aaron Donald, it should probably work against the Bengals defensive line as well. So those are my 3 keys to a Bears victory. And then finally, moving on to my score prediction for this game. I have the Bears going into Soldier Field and beating the Cincinnati Bengals to get their first victory of the 2021 NFL season, winning this game by a score of 27-24. And I know that I have the Bears scoring a lot of points in this game, okay, which is a pretty risky thing to pick, because obviously we only scored 14 points last weekend, but I did like that we were actually moving the ball down the field last weekend, right? It was not the same exact offense that we saw in the middle of 2020, right? Like where we couldn't move the ball at all. We were actually moving down the field against a pretty good defense, but we just could not turn those drives into touchdowns because partly we didn't have the right quarterback in there, okay? So I think that obviously in this game, we also don't have the right quarterback. I would rather go with Justin Fields. But Andy Dalton, guys, going up against his old team, he'll probably try to have a revenge game, okay? Try to prove something to the team that let him go a few years ago. Obviously, that was, a while ago now, so it's not as fresh, but still, okay? First time he's playing his old team, a team that he played for a long time. So I think Andy actually could have a pretty decent game in this game, simply because I think the Bengals have a lot of holes on this defense, okay? They have a lot of holes at cornerback, and the Bears offensive line, for all the struggles that they had last year, they actually played a lot better, in my opinion, in the first game of the season. And going up against a Bengals defensive line that, even though it is talented, it's still worse than the Rams defensive line was. I think we should have some level of success on the offensive side of the football, okay? If we stick with the things that were actually working last weekend, but also try to take shots going down the field, okay? So going to my offensive MVP of this game, then I have that being Allen Robinson, simply because I don't see anybody in this Bengals secondary at the cornerback position that can actually cover him adequately, okay? Going up against Jalen Ramsey, that's obviously going to be a very tough matchup that A-Rob is not going to win most times, but going up against guys like Eli Apple, right? Like, that's not a good matchup for Eli Apple. That's a favorable matchup for Allen Robinson. I think he can get over 100 yards, a touchdown as well, because it is a good matchup for him personally. So A-Rob should ball out. Going to defensive MVP, then I have that being Kindle Vildor, actually, right? This guy was actually not that bad in the secondary last weekend. His coverage stats, according to PFF, he only allowed 1 catch for 18 yards. So the majority of the big plays going down the field were not even on him, right? Like, even watching the broadcast, I don't remember a lot of times where I specifically called out Kindle Vildor's name. So if he can continue having that same success he had last weekend, and also maybe make a play or two, maybe get some pass breakups, maybe get an interception as well, which I actually think he's going to get 1 interception in this game as well, he should probably be defensive MVP this game, okay, for holding up in the secondary. But that's pretty much all I want to say in this video, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Definitely leave your comments down below. Okay, what do you think the score of this game is going to be? Do you think the Bears can actually win this? I mean, do you think Justin Fields will play a lot more in this game? Because I think there is a chance, guys, that he could be starting at halftime, okay? If the Bears offense is struggling in the first half, the Boo Birds are going to rain down on Matt Nagy and Andy Dalton. And maybe Matt Nagy has the balls to switch quarterbacks, okay? So I don't know if that's going to happen, but if it happens, great, okay? Because I want Justin Fields to start in this offense. This offense is going to look so much better with a dynamic quarterback like Justin Fields. But I still hope that Andy Dalton has a good day in this one, because I want the Bears to win. But again, leave your comments down below. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, bear down.